11 minutes to 7 o'clock. Sammy G has a lot of a good view from here over the dock of Geelong, which is where we're broadcasting from. And I'm a little bit distracted because I've got a physical guest, an actual human, which is such a rare treat for me. Let me tell you who she is and why she's here. Her name is Belinda Clark. She is the brains behind the beautiful hand-drawn map of Melbourne that you might recall from the early 90s. It came out, I think, as a wraparound of the Herald Sun, if I'm not mistaken. And then it was updated a few years ago to include all the modern landmarks of Melbourne. Well, a new map has been created to celebrate the Ballerina Peninsula, Geelong, where I'm broadcasting from today and where the ABC will be broadcasting from for the next month. Good morning, Belinda Clark.
Morning, Sammy. How are you?
I am very well. If you could just move a little closer to the microphone because we're competing with the beautiful sounds of early hubbub of Geelong all around us. Congratulations on this latest creation. How long has the Geelong map been in the works?
Thank you. Well, we actually call it the Ballerina Map, this
Pardon
one.
me?
There is going to be a Geelong one.
Oh, okay.
And Geelong is on the Ballerina one. Sorry, it's all a bit confusing.
No, this is great. You don't want to give it's like the Melways is doing a page at a time. You've got to eke it out.
Well, you know, it's a big area to document on the Ballerina, and I live on the Ballerina Peninsula, so it's sort of a bit of a passion project. And I worked with Deborah Young, the artist that I worked with on the very original Melbourne map back in the 1990s. We relived our youth going through the same process again of photographing and documenting and enjoying the Bellarine while we sketched it up, or Deborah illustrated it over a period of 2 years.
How wide is the scope geographically of this Bellarine? I can see it on the table laid out before me, but how much of the Bellarine does it take in this map?
Well, it's the whole of the Bellarine. I wasn't anticipating geography questions, but in miles, I suppose it's about 35 kilometres from where I live in St Leonards to come into Geelong.
So looking at it, it's fair to say it takes in. Yep, I'm just looking at it right now. That there is so much detail going on here. How do you start? Remind us of the process, because you start with photographic references, or is it more just an artistic eye?
Well, the Bellarine was a little bit different. So it's because I live here, I know the lay of the land and what's going on. But basically, I sketch out the Bellarine and the roadways and document all the things that I want illustrated on it. And then Deborah and I just go through a process of piece by piece, and we'll travel around for a day or two and visit different places. But you see a little bit of that other peninsula, and then over to Queenscliff and up to St Leonards, Indented Head, Portarlington, and then down to Ocean Grove and Barwon Heads, Lake Conowari. Actually, there's a lot of people that come to the Bellarine that might not even know that there's a lake of that size in the middle. There's islands that you might not know about and different activities, and it's just an incredible active place, the Ballerina Peninsula.
How were you able to select which landmarks to include? You've pretty much got all the big ones there, but of course you would have had to at some point make some tough decisions.
Yeah, we have artistic licence. Yeah, for sure. You really don't want to upset a local either, and I walk along the streets, so I wanted to make sure I got most things and most people on, and vessels, and all the wineries are shown by a little bunch of grapes. If there's significant buildings, we'll put those on.
But I mean, they're not to scale, so just to be clear, that someone driving to the Bellarine is not going to encounter a 2-kilometre large grape on the road.
No. And if you're driving, perhaps stick to Google Maps on your phone.
You're saying don't use yours to navigate?
No, ours is perfectly fine. You'll be able to drive around here, but for directions, maybe another map if you're driving in your car, because you're not going to have this. But for a souvenir of where you've been, or for locals, actually I'm selling lots and lots and lots too.
Well, and not just posters now. It's jigsaws as well, isn't it?
Jigsaw puzzles. We can now make them in Australia. I sold a ton of our New Zealand-made jigsaw puzzles during COVID, but now we make them in Australia, and we make beach towels in Australia and tea towels, and pretty much just a small range of really beautifully made, Australian-made, locally made. All our prints are printed in Geelong.
They are so unique. The illustrations and the work you put into them are just so specific to our local area here in Victoria. I just adore them. We spoke a few years ago when you released the latest edition of the Melbourne map.
Yeah.
Melbourne, as we know, continues to grow and evolve. There are cranes still dotting the city skyline.
Yeah.
Does it break your heart seeing anything that you've had a hand in creating suddenly changing, and you suddenly think, okay, I need to update this in another
Well, you know, I used to have little mini heart attacks when I drove over the Westgate Bridge when we were doing the map to see all the new buildings coming up. But
bad place to have a heart attack.
I guess what we do is document a place in time. So the Melbourne map, the very first one is a treasured representation of the city at that point in time. The one that we released in 2019 will have special memories. There was one building that was being built, the 108 at the time, and we had the choice to build it as completed or as it was going. If we had drawn it on as it was going to be completed, it would have blocked out a whole lot of Melbourne that we knew at that point in time. Mm-hmm. So we make those choices. Look, even you see Geelong, it's just growing and growing. So we started the Geelong map a little while ago. And
is that a work in progress you're pointing to? This is great.
Yeah. So this is sort of how it starts. We just
amazing.
Pencil all that. So Lewis Brownlee, who worked on the second Melbourne map, has worked on this draft. And we'll just look at, you know, those things and more things to include and find out what's being built. And Geelong has never been documented like this before. So other cities have been, you know, in the 1880s, there was people drawing maps all around Australia. But Geelong hasn't been documented like this before. So we're really excited to get into this one.
Well, make sure you do your illustrations the next month so you can include the ABC Radio Melbourne pop-up studio at Deakin University.
We definitely will. There'll be a little CD. Just for you, Sammy.
Thank you, Ballerina. It is so great to chat again. Where can people head if they want to check out more of your work?
The melbournemap.com.au has all the information about all our maps.
Brilliant. And of course, Melbourne being the loose definition, we are all in Melbourne, even here in Geelong, as part of ABC Radio Melbourne, where a dog has arrived outside the window who is waving to me. Hello, little doggy. This is great. This is lovely. If you're down nearby, come down to Deakin University's waterfront campus, corner of Cunningham Street and Western Beach Road. Give me a wave and say hello. Right now I'm going to give Brad Arnold a wave and say, what's it like on the roads, my friend?
It's